Good evening, my crime family. Good to see you all. And we will be diving into Willis's story tonight. That's for sure. And I know we tried last time. We had some troubles. We got that worked out. And we're ready to go tonight. So let me say hi to my beautiful crime family. Well, hello, Karen. Good to see you, my girl. Been a while. All right, Kathleen, my girl. Nikki, good to see you. And Leslie, good to see you. Moonflower Liza, my girl, good to see you. And Debbie, good to see you. Debbie Gazzardo. And yeah, we're going to start out. And Ro, good to see you, girl. Good to see you. And I thank you for that. The website on Psy there. That was awesome. That gave me that show. You and Natural Healing gave me that. And Allison, good to see you. Okay, so let's get the show started. And Hope, good to see you. People coming in. All right, so let me introduce to you Willis Morgan, who was a witness who claims to have seen Jeffrey Dahmer go in that same day that Adam got and go in to that toy store. And it's not just him. Let's welcome him, and he's going to tell you. And he's not the only witness. Willis, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, and good to see you. Good to see you. Without no. Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good.
All right. I'm good. Everything's good.
Yep, everything is good. So let's get into your story. How did this transpire? You were there that day. He was abducted, correct?
I was. Yes, that is correct. Okay, Tom. My story starts from back in 1981 when I was working for the largest newspaper in Florida, which was the Miami Herald. I was going on to my 10th year in 1981, and we were working a 4-day work week, which means 10-hour shifts, 40 hours a week. And my off days were Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And Monday being one of my days off. I was a training supervisor in the press room, by the way. But Mondays being my middle day off, I decided on July 27th, 1981, Monday, to go to the Hollywood Mall because there was a deli in there, a German deli, and I was going to have lunch there. But on my way down to the German deli, I decided to stop in Radio Shack because it was on the same side of the corridor that I was walking on at the time. And while I was in Radio Shack that this guy came in and tried to start a conversation with me. And it turned out to be very, very bizarre. Not so much because of what he was saying, but his persona, everything about him.
His demeanor?
His demeanor, his disheveled appearance, the stench of alcohol on his breath. It was all of that. Okay. It was the big thing was this dead dull look he had in his eyes, yet he was smiling. So it was very bizarre. And he was trying to start a conversation with me. He approached me saying, "Hi there, nice day, isn't it?" And I ignored him, thinking that, if I said anything, even one word, that would initiate more conversation. So he came right up to me and he tried to initiate more conversation again. And I just kept ignoring him. And eventually he just stomped out of the Radio Shack. And I just gave you that encounter in brief, but it lasted.
Weird.
Excuse me?
Weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Very weird.
Yeah. It was so weird that I thought somebody was going to be in trouble. I thought in 1981, never did I think a 6-year-old kid would be in trouble. I was thinking he's going to go up to somebody else the same way he did to me. I was 34 years old at the time. And this gentleman that came up to me, if I can call him a gentleman back then, I didn't know who he was. He never told me his name, but he stomped out of the Radio Shack, and he started meandering deep into the mall. And I was watching him to see if he would approach somebody else and what would happen, thinking that there might be words exchanged, a shoving match, a fight. And I actually seen him walk into the toy department. But I stood there for a minute. I'm thinking, well, he must be playing the video games because he wasn't coming back out. And then I'm thinking when he does come back out, because that was at the it would be the northwest end of Sears. And I was thinking he would come back the way he went, which would be my way where I was. So I just left. It was that very same evening that I heard about a child that went missing. And I knew right away it had to be that guy because this was on TV. And I was in the kitchen making a sandwich. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. I was in the kitchen making a sandwich. And I heard on the TV about an abduction. Then I heard Sears. And I'm thinking, oh, that's where I was today. And then I'm hearing the toy department. And then they mentioned the time of day, which was the right time of day. They said a little bit after 12. And yeah, I saw him. That's about the time I saw him walking into this toy department. It was 12 o'clock. And Adam was abducted around between 12:15 and 12:20. So I knew it had to be that guy. Like I said, I just didn't know who he was. And I did go to the police. I did tell them my story, but they did not want to listen to me because they said all they wanted was a tag number. They kept asking me if I saw the vehicle and the tag number. And I told them this incident was inside the mall. I never saw a vehicle. And then they wanted a receipt to prove I was there. And I didn't buy anything because I just went home. And I never did go to the German deli, never made it there. So
so this guy really affected you then.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let me put it this way, because the police say this to me. They say, well, what are you doing following somebody around? But I'm 77 now, and I've never in my life before Adam or since Adam have ever followed anybody. This was the one and the only time I've ever followed anybody. That's how it affected me. That's how the gut instinct I had that somebody was going to be in trouble. But like I said, in 1980, this was 1981. Nobody thought
1981. I mean, yeah, that was a compared to today, a very mellow time. Yeah.
And kids were left alone in the toy department. That was very common back then.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that wasn't the only incident. There were other incidents that were very similar to that incident. And there was one on another Monday, 2 weeks before Adam, where a white male with a blue van tried to abduct the kid in another Sears toy department on the same day, about the same time of day. The only difference between those two incidents is Reve Walsh, Adam's mother, went to the Sears to shop for a lamp, and she left Adam in the toy department. Well, in this other incident, which happened July 13th, two Mondays before, Ginger Keaton left her son in the toy department and she went to shop for a dress. That's the only difference. And while Terry Keaton was in the toy department, a white male tried to grab him. But he was 10 years old. He managed to get away. Adam was 6 and he didn't stand
right. Big difference between 6 and 10.
Yeah, he actually managed to run to the clothing department. We saw a mother and her son, her 10-year-old son, Matt. And he grabbed onto her, begging her for help. And the guy just ran out of the mall. And then she took Terry to the shoe department. And the guy that was in the shoe department, Barry Culverton, he called over the intercom system, called for his mother to come pick her son up. And that's when Ginger picked her son up. And she went to go report the incident. And so while they were out in the mall corridor looking for security, Terry pointed out to his mother, said, "Hey, Mom, that's the man right there. That's the man that tried to grab me." So she got so scared, she just left. And she never did report the incident. But she did report it to the police department. And so they made an incident, a report about it. But
Okay,
remember,
let's hold on here. It seems to be lagging a little bit here or something. Let me do something here. See if I can't. It seems to be lagging a little bit. Is there a lag out there, guys? Chat, is there a lag out there?
well, Willow says indeed. I don't know. Is she referring to the lag? No, Moonflower says no.
Yeah, there's a lag. Maybe go out and come back in. You can do that. No, there's no lag. Wait, maybe they're saying no. Okay, keep going. Maybe it's just my end. All right.
Everybody's saying no.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yep.
Now you made me lose my spot. No, anyway, they reported the incident to the police. They made a police report up, but this was 2 weeks before Adam. So, they obviously they didn't know about Adam because it didn't happen yet.
Right.
So that was July 13th. Okay, on July 27th, after Adam was abducted, the next day, the witnesses from that incident were calling the Hollywood Police Department as well as the police chief. He called the Hollywood Police Department and told them that he thinks their incident matches the Hollywood Mall incident and they're connected. But they discounted the police chief as well as all the witnesses from that mall. And both incidents.
Why would they do that?
That's what I'm going to get into. Both incidents, there was a blue van involved. Multiple witnesses at the Hollywood Mall saw Adam being tossed into a blue van as it sped off. And also Ginger, Keaton, and Terry say there was a blue van parked when they finally left the mall. Like I said, she just wanted to get out of there and leave the mall. She saw a blue van inappropriately parked in the fire lane as well, just like the Hollywood Mall. So John Atwater, the police chief from Riviera Beach, this other Sears store, he called the Hollywood Police Department, like I said. And what they did was they sent 2 detectives up to Riviera Beach, which is a suburb of West Palm Beach, by the way. And they dismissed all the witnesses there. And one of the reasons they did that is because they already had a suspect at that time. And that suspect, that suspect was John Walsh's house guest, James Campbell. In fact, the lead detective, Jack Hoffman, who was one of the detectives that went up to the Riviera Beach Twin City Mall, his comment in the newspapers was that the composites didn't match James Campbell from the Twin City Mall incident. But you know what they did match? They matched the composites from the Hollywood Mall. But they dismissed the Hollywood Mall kid that made the composite, that original Bolo, because they thought he saw the Riviera Beach on TV, that incident, and he made his composite, to match that one. So they managed to dismiss everybody. They found good reasons to dismiss everybody, because they were so zeroed in on James Campbell, John's house guest. John Wall,
I think my crime family understands that because of a different case that we're on right now, and it's the same thing. Once the police get something in their focus, that they lose sight of everything else.
Exactly. John Walsh even wrote a book. This book here, Tears of Rage. Okay, in this book, John Walsh, he refers to those detectives at the Hollywood Mall as the biggest. This is his quote in his book. Okay. As the biggest bunch of bumbling, stumbling idiots since the Keystone Cops. So those are John Walsh's words, and he's correct. They were all a bunch of bumbling, stumbling idiots. But the problem is, one of these detectives, it's the guy that wrote this book here. His name is Detective Joe Matthews. This is the book that was used to close the case and pin it on an innocent man. It's called Bringing Adam Home. Okay. that was actually a report that he put together called the Matthews Report, 400-page report. And after the case was closed, he took that report and gave it to a co-author who formulated it into that book. And that's how that book came. Now, we don't have the manuscript because they refused to show it to anybody. But the closest thing we have is that book. And in that book, he doesn't mention any of the witnesses. They're not mentioned in his book. The only witnesses he mentions in his book are witnesses that point the finger to Ottis Toole. And they're not even credible witnesses. They're witnesses like cellmates of Ottis Toole that would say things, yeah, everybody knows he did it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, but the witnesses at the Hollywood Mall, they're precipient witnesses, which means that there are witnesses that were actually at the crime scene.
So in other words, they're dismissing the eyewitnesses that actually seen.
Right.
Well,
I don't call recipient witnesses, which means that witnesses that were actually there.
Right.
Which are eyewitnesses, as you said.
Yep.
But anyway, so he dismisses everybody because his goal is to pin this on Ottis Toole. That's his only purpose of closing this case. And even the original detectives all dismissed Ottis Toole as a viable suspect. He's been long dismissed. He confessed, recanted, and he confessed to hundreds of
people. It didn't really fit his MO, did it?
It didn't fit that either.
Doesn't fit his MO.
Yeah, and none of the composites fit him either because if you look at the composites, everybody, all the witnesses, including myself, when I first went to the police department, they did ask me for, I told you they dismissed me, but they did, before they dismissed me, ask me some pertinent questions like, a description, age, hair color, clothing, things like that. They did ask me all those questions. And I told them at the time that the age, the guy was about 20 years old. And then when I eventually, after they closed the case, they had to release the case files because they refused to release the case files, but they had to once they closed the case because their excuse for not releasing the files were that it's an open case and they're still investigating. But you can't still be investigating if you close the case.
Right.
So that's when I got a hold of the case files and I started looking through them and I found numerous other witnesses because they really messed up. If you look at the FBI files on Jeffrey Dahmer, all the witnesses are redacted, their names. And, in fact, some pages that have more redaction on them than they actually do type.
Right. Now, so people understand here now, Jeffrey Dahmer was working. He's from Wisconsin, right? But he was working in Florida at the time, 20 minutes away from that place.
Right. 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you look here, I don't know if I can find. Sometimes I try to find things in my own book, and you can talk for a second here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's what he was working 15 to 20 minutes away in Florida there, and a lot of people didn't know that. And there's more witnesses than just Willis here. There's more.
I'm going to put
more witnesses.
I don't know if anybody can see this, but this is a police report right here. Okay, now you really can't see it, so you can't see much.
Right.
But
okay, yeah.
Go to my website, justiceforadam.com. I have the police report on that website. And
let me. I can share the screen here. Yeah.
Yeah, and go to media reviews. Click on it.
It must be this one here.
No, wait. You can go there. Scroll down to the bottom. You see where it says Justice for Adam?
Justice for Adam. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Right on the website. You can toggle back
right there.
You got to double click. Right. Double click on it.
Oh, I got to stop sharing this one page here.
Okay.
And I'll go back to. There we go. Yeah, and here's his website right here.
Right. Scroll down to where you say meter room. Is there a
meter room?
Yeah, right in the bottom where it says extra files. Right.
Right
Click on
there.
that.
Okay.
Oh no, wait a minute.
Okay.
Go back. It's got to say police report. I think it says police report. Go back. Let me see here.
Yep, right here. Police reports.
Okay, that one right there on the top. Let me see what it says. Hang on, don't click on it.
Report page one.
Page 1. Go ahead.
Yep. Okay, and this is that.
Double click on it.
But yeah, oh, just once. Yeah, just once I can go. All right. So you want this red right here?
No, when you just touched, double click on it though.
No, it won't let me. It only clicks once, and then that's it.
No, it'll open. If you click on it, it'll open.
No, I just
because I don't see your cursor on it. Where's your cursor?
It's right here.
It's not on the. It's not on that link. Where it says police report, Miami Beach.
I'm already. Oh, wait a minute. I'm past that. Oh, I got to stop sharing that and now share this. That's what it is. Hold on. This right here, I do believe. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, can you enlarge it so they can see the name? Read it.
And this is. I'll try to do it myself here. Sometimes this works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's working. There we go.
Yeah. It's not quite clear on my end, but you see Jeffrey Dahmer's got his name all over this police report. Is that the right one?
That? I don't see Jeffrey Dahmer's name.
Which one?
It just says victim stated that while walking northbound on. This is what. I don't know if this is the right one.
It might not. It doesn't sound like it's the right one. That might be the South Beach incident. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not the right one.
Me...
I can see the name.
Okay.
It's a different incident.
Right. So back to police reports. What? Miami Beach report, page 2?
No. It probably says Sunny Isles.
Huh?
I think it might be the one that says Sunny Isles.
Sunny Isles?
Sunny Isles.
Sunny
Let me get on there. Let me get on there myself and I can find it. Okay. Police reports. Okay. Yeah, all the way at the bottom, Sunny Isles. It says police report, Sunny Isles, at the bottom, page 1.
Page 1. Maybe. Wait a minute. No, do I got to go back here? That's probably what I got to do. Evidence. Sunny Isles. I don't see that anywhere. Sunny Isles. I do not see that. I see Jeffrey Dahmer, Milwaukee Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, that's not.
Let me go back to this page. Yeah, I don't see that at all. Sunny Isles? Yeah, I don't see that at all.
Wait a minute. Hang on.
I don't know what page you're on there, but.
Hang on. We're going to find it.
Okay, well, what does it say?
Well, it's got Jeffrey Dahmer's name all over it because he was a witness to a dead man that he found behind the store where he worked.
Oh, right. I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Oh, here it is. I found it. You ready?
Yeah. Where is it?
Okay, you on that page there for the let me go back here. Extra files and photos, right? And then you want to go to police reports.
Hold on here. Extra What page am I on here? This one here?
Okay, let me go back to you and see where you're at here. Hang on.
I don't see extra.
Yeah, no. Listen, on that page that says police reports. Okay, you already clicked on one page, but it was wrong.
Okay. Yep, there's police reports. Okay.
Go to the bottom of the page.
Yep.
And you see police reports, and it says Sunny Isles. You don't see it, huh?
It says Sears Game Center, junk evidence, my lawsuit.
You're way. Yeah, you're not on the police report page.
I clicked on it. Yeah, I'm on the police report page. Yeah, it even says that up here. Here, let me show you what I'm looking at here. It says police reports right on it. Here, this is the page I'm looking at. There.
That's it. That's it.
Okay. Now, what do I click on? You're saying it says Sunny something. I don't see any Sunny anywhere.
It says Sunny Isles. Okay, from the bottom. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 up from the bottom. Go 4 up.
2, 3.
No, not over there. Not over there. On the right. On the right. Yeah, 1,
2, 3, 4. That's Nazario.
Yeah, that's the
officer. Well, that's what you have to tell me. Officer Nazario. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. According to Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer, the victim was an OCD derelict living at the rear of his business in the Meter Collins Avenue and had been complaining of health must be. The victim was discovered by Mr. Dahmer face down directly south of the meter room. Now, where is this located compared to where the mall is? Where the Sears, the mall. Yeah,
it's about 8 miles from the Sears Mall.
About 8 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, and this guy was found, and is this where Dahmer worked then?
Yes, it's right behind the store where he worked, the dumpster. See,
and that's only 8 miles from the mall. Oh, okay, all right.
Well, what happened was when Dahmer came to Florida after he was discharged from the Army, he didn't want to go back to Ohio. So how that works in the military, they'll give you a one-way ticket to anywhere you want to go in the United States. And he didn't want to go back to Ohio, as I said. So he decided to come to Florida, Miami. And he worked his way over to Miami Beach. And after he ran out of money, he started dumpster diving. And one day he was dumpster diving in his dumpster behind this strip mall. And this guy, his name is Ken Halbert. He was the manager of a sandwich shop called Sunshine Subs. And so he was taking the garbage out that day he saw this young man dumpster diving, and he asked the guy, he said, "Hey, what do you need, something to eat?" And the guy said, "Yeah." And so he went inside, made a sandwich for him, and brought it out to him. And several days later, he went out to the dumpster, and that same guy was dumpster diving again. So he told the guy, "Hey, listen, you need a job?" And he hired Jeffrey Dahmer as a busboy.
Wow.
So that's how Dahmer got the job. And Ken says about 10 days after he hired Dahmer, Jeff found a dead man behind the store. So I went to get the police report from the Miami-Dade Records Department, and they gave me this report. I didn't mention anything except the date on there, so they didn't realize that I'm sure if I would have said this is the Adam Walsh case, they would have never given it to me. They would have found a good reason not to give it to me. I don't know, but I've had to file lawsuits against them just to get records because they don't follow sunshine laws in Florida here. The Hollywood Police Department, Miami-Dade, probably would follow suit. I don't know, but anyway, I did manage to get this police report. And as you were reading, Jeffrey Dahmer's got his name all over it. So
Right.
Ken said about 10 days after he hired Dahmer, he found this dead guy. And if you look on the top of that police report, the date is July 7th, 1981, correct? July 7th.
Yep. July. Yep. July 7th,
Okay.
1981.
So here's the
Yep.
deal. Adam was abducted July 27th. So that means 20 days after he found the dead
20
guy,
days.
20 days, Adam was abducted. And he said it was about 10 days after he hired him. So what does that mean? 10 days from before July 7th would be June 27th, right? June 27th.
Yeah.
So that means Adam was abducted exactly, well, I don't know about it exactly, but he was abducted 1 month after he was working at that sub shop.
Right. And 20 days after he found the body.
Guy. Right.
You're right. And 1 week. Okay, so here's the way the timeline looks like to me. So he gets hired, and a week later, he finds a dead guy, and then
Right.
a week later, there's an abduction try at a different Sears toy store. Correct.
Correct. Right.
And then 2 weeks later, Adam is abducted.
Yeah, and there were other incidents in between that. 1 week before Adam, he tried to abduct a 13-year-old girl in that same toy department. And the day before Adam, on July 27th, he tried to abduct another little kid from that same Sears toy department.
Right.
So anyway, when I found this police report, I was reading it, and you read that part about there was one shoe on the derelict, and so the police looked in that meter room and they found another shoe. When I read that part, I knew that's where he had to bring Adam. So I made a beeline for that room, and when I went in there, I managed to get in there. And I went into that. Yeah, I went into that meter room under the premise that anything I do is legal unless I get caught.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's called breaking and entering, isn't
it? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I managed to get in there. And when I went in that room, the goosebumps on my arms told me this is it. This is the place. And for several reasons, because anybody that watches true crime shows knows that when someone abducts somebody, they're going to bring them somewhere they're familiar with, especially if they're not from this area. And what better place would he be familiar with is that meter room now that he doesn't have the derelict in there anymore. That derelict was evicted by Jeffrey Dahmer style eviction, if you follow what I'm saying. So anyway, when I went in there, what happened was I told another writer, a reporter, about this incident. I went home, I got my camera, I came back, I took pictures of the meter room and all that. And unbeknownst to me, I don't want to mention his name, but he went and called ABC Primetime. And they actually flew from New York all the way down to Sunny Isles, where that meter room was at, and did a TV show about it. This is back when Chris Cuomo, who worked for CNN for a while, before he worked for CNN, he was with ABC. And he narrated that show, ABC Primetime. So he was the one that narrated the episode on the meter room there. And what they did was they got permission from the manager of that strip mall to go in to that meter room. And they hired a CSI expert. Her name was Jan Johnson. She passed away a little while ago, 6 months ago, or something like that. But anyways, they hired her to go in there, and she's considered one of the best CSI experts in Florida, if not the country. And she found this blood spatter on this back wall of that meter room. Now, I have pictures of it on my website. Yeah, I have pictures of it on my website. Maybe you can get one of them up there, because it'll probably come out better that way than me trying to show it here. Because it's going to.
Right. Let me look here.
So, do I need to guide you on that too? Let me see what we.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back at the website now. Let me stop sharing that one and share this one here.
Yeah, you want to go back? Click back.
Okay, so
go to
there
down where it says meter room photos. You see meter room photos under extra files? Okay, click on that. And then let's scroll down. And let's see, we want to go to behind the sub shop meter room. Blood spatter, right there on the top where it says blood spatter. You see it?
Spatter. Not yet here. My eyes are bad. I should get my on the right. Blood splatter. Oh yeah. Yep. Okay.
Click on that.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Well, that's a blurry photo. That's not a good photo. I should change that photo because I have much better photos than that one.
Well, that's a lot of blood splatter right there.
That is. And so anyways, Jan Johnson, the CSI expert, she described.
When was this? When did they do it? When did they find this?
This was 2007.
Holy, and where was this on the floor? I mean,
well, I'm gonna explain it to you. This is on the back wall of the meter room. Okay, so she found it with blue luminol lighting, and she describes it as being a high velocity blood spatter pattern indicative of a homicide. And then she goes on to explain how the homicide would have occurred. And now I'm going to loosely paraphrase what she said on that show. She said, to create that blood spatter, someone would have had to be down on the floor, and it would have had to have been a choppy motion, and she showed with her how it would have occurred. So we have a crime scene. We have a murder in that meter room, and the police refuse to investigate. Now, Tom, the cover of my book, the expanded edition that you were looking at earlier, do you see the crime scene tape on the cover? That's the meter room. That cover is the meter room. So, right here, let me go back.
Okay.
Let me
Let me get out of this here.
This cover.
Let me get out. Let me get out of this.
Up there if you can.
Let me get out of this, and I'll put the cover of your book, right?
Right, the hardcover book.
The hardcover book, which I think is this the one? Let me look. This here? Oh, right here.
Yeah,
that's the meter room.
Right. Okay, now let me explain to you. Yeah, go ahead. Leave it enlarged like that. I like that. Okay. Leave it like that for a second. Okay. Yep. My original book came out in 2015. Okay.
Okay.
And that book has your standard crime scene tape in that same spot. And it would say crime scene, do not cross, like your regular crime scene tape.
Right.
But one of my attorneys told me every time she looked at it, she thinks it should say crime scene, do not investigate. So on this expanded edition, I changed the crime scene tape.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a crime scene in that meter room, right? Somebody died in there, but it wasn't the dead guy that Dahmer found, Bobby, the derelict, because he didn't have any blood on him. He had no blood on him.
Right.
So it wasn't him.
Yeah. Okay, so I had a question here. Now I'm forgetting what it is here. Did they ever take DNA of those blood spots?
Oh yes, of course. That when they went in there, Jan Johnson, the CSI expert, she definitely took some blood swabs. So that's what she did, is just use Q-tips and take swabs.
Right. And what'd they find out?
Well, they didn't find anything because it was 27 years, something like that later.
Oh,
and the humidity in Florida, the climate,
right.
and that wall is a mortared wall. It's a CBS block wall with mortar covering it, which I don't know if you ever worked with cement, but it's very high in lime, and lime will destroy any evidence, DNA evidence.
Right.
So they
Right.
weren't able to. In fact, even after that show, I went back in there again and I actually chipped out because, like I said, it's a mortared wall. The mortar is only like an 16th of an inch, if that. And so I was able to chip squares out, 1-inch squares of some of those spots that you're looking at there, and I sent them to a lab in Texas, and they were unable to come up with anything. So I was thinking maybe they didn't want to come up with anything because I know a lot of these labs work with police departments. And when I filled out all the paperwork, I mentioned, Adam's name
Could they? I wonder if they could like estimate a time of when the blood splatter was there. I mean, close, approximate. Taking everything into account, like the humidity and the.
Well, that was they could have at least done that, but no, they weren't able to do even that. But anyway,
Right.
That Texas DNA lab, Orchard Cell Market is the name. They sent me the samples back, the unused samples, and then I went back in there and got some more samples of my own, and I sent them to another lab right here in Florida, and called DNA Labs International, and they weren't able to get anything either. And the funny thing is, Tom, let me just say this: when I went into the lobby, when I first went to that lab, I noticed all these placards all over the walls from other police departments. So my notion that they do a lot of work for other police departments was correct. So what I did when I filled out the paperwork, I didn't put Adam's name on it. I just put victim, and then I didn't put the location on it. I changed the location. The only things I had to keep correct was the time frame, because they needed to have that, and
Right.
and the condition.
Have you ever tried like the IgG thing, or like those specialty labs, like that? That I mean, they take very very little DNA.
Yeah. No, this lab is as good as a lab you're going to find. They did nuclear mitochondrial DNA on it. That's where they actually take cells and try to grow them and enhance them before they actually. And they were unable to. That mortared wall will destroy any DNA. So we were never able to get any DNA. I mean, had I gotten DNA, yeah. Had I gotten DNA, I was prepared to go to Ray Walsh's house and go through her garbage when it was put out curbside and grab stuff out of there and get DNA. But obviously that never materialized. So, but I'm sure
you spent a lot of time on this case.
Now, what we know now is that I'm certain that somebody was murdered in that meeting room, number one, and that Jeffrey Dahmer abducted Adam. Those are two certainties to me because I was there. I was face to face with Jeffrey Dahmer at that time. And so I'm certain of that. The thing is, when ABC Primetime did that show, they actually contacted the Hollywood Police Department and showed them that police report. And they admitted they've never seen it before. But they were saying that it could have been two pit bulls that got in there and had a fight that caused that blood spatter. That's what the Hollywood Police Department said. But anyway, I myself contacted the because this is in Dade County.
Here, Jeffrey Dahmer, like one of the most famous, serial. I'm not going to say the last word there, but everybody knows what I'm trying to say here. It works there, and there's a bunch of BLOOD spatter all over the place, and they say, "Oh, it could be a couple of pit bulls got in there."
Well, listen to this, and I'll get into all of that. Why they wanted to cover it. I went to the Dade County Police Department because, the Hollywood Mall is in Broward County. Okay. The location where Dahmer worked was actually in Dade County. The county lines is like right between those two locations.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that probably didn't help matters at all.
Yeah. So I called Miami Police Department. And you know what they told me? They told me, well, we think a bird flew into the wall. So their answer was no better than the Hollywood Police Department.
Oh wow! I'm going to show that. I'm going to show that spatter once again. That is not from a bird. That is not from a couple of dogs fighting. I guarantee that. Here's a blood spatter, folks. Look at that. And they're trying to say, "Oh, a bird hit the wall."
Well, because the reason they're getting away with saying that is because there was actually a bird in that room, but it was only like 2 inches long, and it was found on the opposite side of that room. And when I went in there, the bird didn't look like it was dead since 1981.
Right.
Right. It would have been nothing but bones. It looked like it was freshly dead. So when they told me that a bird may have flown into the wall, I said, well, how does that comport with Jan Johnson saying that blood spatter is indicative of a homicide? The only way that bird could have caused that is if it was murdered. Right? Because this is a homicidal pattern.
Right.
And so they yelled at me. This Chuck McCulley's his name, the lead homicide detective in Miami. He started shouting at me saying, Jan Johnson, she's worthless. You hear me? Worthless. So I asked him, I said, well, if she's so worthless, why is she the one that trains your police department? Right?
Right.
So they hire her to train their detectives, and yet now they're calling her worthless. So
that's crazy.
But anyway, listen, the reason they're going into this cover-up mode, there's an old saying, when you mess up, never fess up. And in 1991, after Jeffrey Dahmer was captured, I was working that night, and we were doing paper check, and I was going through the papers, and I came to this page, and it was 8A, and I saw this article in there, a little article, and it was about this guy up in Milwaukee who committed some horrendous crimes in his apartment. And I didn't even read the article, but I saw this mugshot that was part of that article.
Uh-huh.
And I started freaking out. I was yelling, this is the guy I saw in the mall. And I heard voices around me saying,
In Florida. Right.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was in Florida. Well, I'm standing reading an article about Milwaukee. And I'm saying, this is the guy. And I heard voices around me saying, Willis, calm down. I heard somebody else say, what are you talking about? I was about as calm as I was going to get. I was drinking one cup of coffee after another after I saw that mugshot in there. And so I went back to the Hollywood Police Department with that paper. And I tried to tell them, this is the guy. And they told me that the detective that's on that case, Jack Hoffman, he's still the original detective that was on there from 81, that he was on vacation. And they took my information and said he would call me back. In the meantime, I went to the library. We call it a library, but it's actually a storage room because in 81, they didn't computerize the papers. So they would store hard copies of papers in a big warehouse room in file cabinets. And if you wanted to search for something, they did public services to search. But since nothing was computerized and you couldn't use keywords to find something, you have to have a pretty good date of an article that you wanted. So they can go back to that newspaper. And I did, 1981, July 27th. Doesn't get much closer, right? A couple of days after, composites started coming out. So I told them a couple of days after July 27th, 1981, start from there. And they did. They gave me a composite. And 4 months later, that detective, Jack Hoffman, finally called me and asked me to come in for an interview. So when I went back to him, I still had the paper, And I had the composite that I got from the Miami Herald, and I showed it to him. I said, look, you can see this is the guy. And first thing he said was, well, they don't look nothing alike to me. And if you look at my book, I have the composite there and the mugshot.
Yeah, I looked at that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a very good likeness there, especially when you consider what a composite is. It's a witness
Well,
describing
I
after
looked
the fact. It's a witness describing after the fact, sometimes weeks, months, sometimes even years, to a composite artist that never seen the suspect who has to draw the composite. So considering all of that, those composites are
well, and
very
then
good
when I ran the radio shows with the guy from the Twin Cities here, right, 4 hours from me. When I ran them shows, where was I going with this? Totally spaced it out.
You said we have from the Twin Cities.
Yeah, what were we talking about though? Oh God, I hate that when that happens.
It had something to do with composites matching.
Oh yeah. My crime family thought, it was too chubby of a face and stuff. And so I looked up what Dahmer looked like when he was younger. And he had a chubby face. He was chubby. And the crime family seen that. He was a little chubbier than he was in 91. In 81, he was chubbier. Yeah.
But anyway, when I showed him that, the first thing before he even said that they don't look alike, his jaw dropped. And my thinking was he knows something, but he's not telling me. I expect him to tell me much, but it wouldn't be till 2008 when I got a hold of those case files, like I was telling you, after they closed the case, and I started looking through them, and I saw that composite in there, and that's when I realized I had the wrong composite. I didn't have the composite from the Hollywood Mall. They gave me one from the Twin City Mall. And he's the one that went up there and dismissed all the witnesses and the police chief, everybody. He's the one that was going around dismissing not only that Riviera Beach incident, but there was an incident in South Beach where they also sent a police report to the Hollywood Police Department saying that their incident matched. There was one in Plantation. There was one in Deerfield. So there were other incidents.
So Dahmer was getting his start a lot earlier than what people actually realize.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's the one that was going around dismissing all these incidents again because he was dealing in on James Campbell. And because of that, he dismissed everything. And then in 1991, when Dahmer was caught, he did not want to make Dahmer the suspect. In fact, John Walsh asked him to go up and interview Jeffrey Dahmer, and he refused to. John Walsh's Jeffrey Dahmer's father, Lionel Dahmer, wrote this book here, A Father's Story. Where is it at? Right here. I don't know if you can see it. A Father's Story. Okay. This is A Father's Story is about raising Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay? And in that book, he talks about how he called John Walsh and told him his son murdered Adam. And so John Walsh called the Hollywood Police Department and says, hey, you got to go interview this guy. This guy fits the description of someone, I'm paraphrasing, of someone who would abduct and murder a young boy. And the FBI also was calling him saying, hey, get up here. The trial is over. We can get you in right away. And they kept refusing and refusing. Finally, John Walsh went to Jack Hoffman and told him, said, listen, we need you to go up there. I have a letter. He got a letter from the state attorney's office saying that Florida would not seek the death penalty if Dahmer confessed. And he gave that letter to Jack Hoffman and says, I want you to go up there and interview him. So Jack Hoffman used up one of his last excuses saying that we don't have any money for a trip like that. And John told Jack Hoffman, he said, listen, I'm making pretty good money on TV these days, so I'll pay for the trip. Well, with his back to the wall and out of excuses, on July 13th, I think it was 1993, he went up there to interview Jeffrey Dahmer. And that interview turned out to be a bust because he never offered that letter on the concession of death penalty. He never even offered it to Dahmer.
What?
Right, because I have the transcripts of the interview. Nowhere in there, in that recorded interview, does he say, "Hey, Jeffrey Dahmer, I have this letter here. If you confess, Florida is not seeking capital punishment." Nowhere in that interview does he say anything. All he does is talks about Dahmer's past, growing up, and he brought some muffins that his wife made and offering him muffins, talking about how great the muffins are. That was the interview.
What?
And then he comes back and he tells John Walsh that Dahmer looked him straight in the eye and said he didn't do it. And he believes him. So John Walsh bought into that story and dismissed Dahmer. And then this would have been backtracking a little bit, back in one of the reasons John Walsh managed to dismiss Dahmer so easily is because when John Walsh became host of America's Most Wanted, one of those bumbling, stumbling idiot detectives named Joe Matthews called John and befriended him. And John Walsh hired him as a senior lead investigator on America's Most Wanted. He had the highest position. So now John had one of these bumbling, stumbling, this is his quote, bumbling, stumbling idiot detectives right in his midst for years, feeding him this artist tool narrative. Now, the reason John hired this detective is because his name is Detective Joe Matthews. He worked for the Miami Beach Police Department, not Hollywood. But the Hollywood Police Department hired his company. He had a company on the side called the Southern Institute of Polygraph. So they hired his company to do the polygraphs on the Walshes and John Walsh's friend, James Campbell, and he exonerated them. And so I'm guessing that it was because John Walsh remembered that he exonerated them and thinking that he's probably the only one that isn't a bumbling, stumbling idiot. And so he hired him. And it was this detective that come up with this artist tool narrative that he pinned this on to close the case. Probably just to placate the Walshes. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's crazy as hell. And you have to think of, and I've read a lot and seen shows on O'Toole's. This doesn't fit his MO whatsoever.
No.
And like I told my crime family before, there is crazy and there is people sick in the head, that will, any kind of serial people out there. But there's another level when you can decapitate a child's head.
Right.
That's another level of sickness. And there's not that many people, not even through this whole country,
right,
that are like that.
Exactly.
Then you take Florida down there, and here you got the one man in probably the whole United States that could do something like that, and he's 8 minutes away.
Yeah, and they dismiss it.
And he has a blue van.
Yeah, and they dismiss it. Yeah.
And they dismiss it.
And multiple witnesses. If you want, we can get in. I don't know how long you want to do the show. You want to do another show down the road? We could talk about some of the other witnesses too that all point the finger at Dahmer. So
right,
you have all these witnesses.
We might do that. I thought maybe this one might be the last one, but we, to hear the whole thing, because this is quite a story. Yeah, this is quite a story. And you've spent a lot of time and money on this case. It sounds like to me. And,
I have, because
you've done your homework, and you were there. You've seen them. And
that's one of the reasons I do what I do. And let me explain to you, like I said, maybe on another show we'll talk about some of the witnesses. But I know one of the witnesses that witnessed Adam being dragged out of the store, which again goes completely against the narrative that closed the case. Adam, the narrative that closed the case was a security guard put Adam out of the store, and he's wandering around in the parking lot when Otis Toole offered him candy, and he willingly got into Otis Toole's car. Case closed. That's what they did. Okay, but that flies in the face of witnesses like Philip Law, who went into the Sears. Okay, and he was really upset because he lost his parking space because of this blue van that was parked in the fire lane inappropriately, obstructing traffic. And because of that, he lost the space that he had in mind. Another car pulled into it, so he had to park further out, and he had to walk around the blue van. So he was upset. And then as he's walking in the store, he sees this guy dragging his kid out, and the kid's screaming, "You're not my daddy. You're not my daddy. I don't want to go."
Jeez.
And right. And so he's turned around, started walking backwards, right? Watching this, and he's thinking to himself that he can't remember everything, so he's going to concentrate on the kid. And he goes over to the service counter, has second thoughts, runs back outside. The van, the guy, and the kid are all gone. So he goes to the police, and they completely dismiss him. Why would you dismiss somebody that says something like that? You know, that he's screaming, "You're not my daddy. I don't want to go. I don't want to go." And the reason Phil says he hesitated is because he thought maybe that was a stepfather, and the kid was just a rambunctious kid that didn't want to.
Oh, right.
Another guy, real quick. He was outside the mall. He was going into the service desk to change his address because he was moving to Birmingham, Alabama. And he saw this guy taking this little kid, screaming, the kid screaming, you know, again, "You're not my daddy. You're not my daddy." And the guy's going, "I'm going to take your daddy." And he lifts him up by one arm and tosses him into the blue van like a sack of potatoes. And Bill, his name is Bill Bowen. He said he could remember to this day because when that van sped off, he burned rubber on the ground. He said he could smell the rubber to this day. I'll never forget that smell. Okay, and there's so many other witnesses that witnessed this incident. Like I told you, Mia Taylor was there 2 days in a row when Dahmer tried to abduct her brother, Joel, on the 26th. And then she was there also on the 27th when she saw the same disheveled guy standing over Adam and taking him by the fingertips and walking out with him. So, I mean, you have so many witnesses. And she even said something to her mother. And her mother, they wanted to stay longer in the toy department. Her mother says, "No, his dad is here now," as he was leaning over Adam. So she thought that was his father. Had I gone further into the toy department, I would have known that he wasn't a father. He wasn't a stepbrother. He wasn't a stepfather or an older brother. I would have known better. I always thought maybe I could have done something. You know, I could have been the one to stop it. So, and I didn't. I left. So.
Yeah, it's not your fault there, brother.
No, and it bothers me when the police department just completely dismiss witnesses like that because, you know, they just don't want Dahmer to be a suspect. And Milwaukee does the same thing. They dismiss murders because they don't want to make the connections to Dahmer. You know, there was one guy, his name is Dean Vaughn. He was murdered in the same building Dahmer lived in, right? Something like the meter room, you know, a guy that's murdered right by the store where he worked. But this guy was murdered. Why would you not want to make Dahmer a suspect? A guy in the building with somebody like Dahmer, you know, he should be a first suspect, right? But the reason Dean was found in his room on the 3rd floor. Dahmer was in 213 on the 2nd floor. And he was found face down on his bed with his pants down to his ankles. He was intoxicated. After they did the autopsy, they found he had alcohol, and he was sodomized. Now, if that doesn't fit Dahmer's MO, you know, I don't know what does.
You're right.
Here's why they don't want to make the connection, is because Dean Vaughn was, this was an ongoing murder at the time Dahmer was captured. It was about 4 months before he was captured. And since that murder, they gave a little kid back to Dahmer that Conract sent us some phone. And there were almost riots, okay? And they had the community known how many times they were in that building because of all the state complaints and apartment break-ins. Right
Right.
after the time this white guy moved in, all of a sudden you have all these apartment break-ins there too going on. In fact, the manager that ran that building, his name is Soper Princewell. He wrote this book, A Prime Target, because he believes he was the number one target. Dahmer was after him as well.
Right.
So he wrote this book, and he talks about Jeffrey Dahmer's time living in that building and all the stinking place when he went to Dahmer's apartment.
Well, just what's really sad is if they would have just listened, just think how many lives would have been saved,
Right.
over
Well,
the years,
that's the thing. When that little kid escaped, he was found butt naked in the street, bleeding by two young black girls. Okay, and they're the ones that called the police department. They called 911. The police show up, and while they're there, the fire department was there just ahead of them, and they were taking care of the little kid. The police actually told the fire department to take off, and they made them leave because Dahmer showed up. And Dahmer said, that's his 19-year-old lover. And they said, what's his name? He said, John.
Oh, yeah. I remember that part. I remember that story. Yeah.
Well, he didn't say John.
Right.
He said, John. And they said, John what? He said, John, we made up some last name. So they ended up giving the kid back to Dahmer. And Dahmer
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they were afraid to make the connection to Dean Vaughn because they were afraid after Dahmer was captured, there would be riots. And that's my opinion. Anyway, I can't say that, that's a fact. Allegedly. We have to keep using the word
allegedly, speculations.
Yeah. Because why would you not want to at least consider Dahmer a possible suspect in Dean Vaughn's murder?
Well, like I said, there's only so many people that will do that to a child, to anybody. And he's 8 miles away from where it happened.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else in the United States that even fits that MO.
Yeah. And not only that, but look at this. You talk about another MO or connection. Dahmer was chopping people up in his apartment and putting them in garbage bags and throwing them in the dumpster. Okay.
Right.
Now, when I went down into that meter room in the crawl space, there were a couple of garbage bags down there and a blanket. What is that doing in a crawl space? So, could Dahmer have chopped Adam up and put him in the dumpster right next to where the dead man was found? You can't discount it.
Right.
I can't say that exactly what happened, but I would never discount it. And so anyway. Some of the people that were living in the building there, they were saying things like, there were cats. Every time Dahmer would go out to that dumpster, cats would surround him. They said like a dozen cats. They'd follow him all around. And they were getting into the dumpster, trying to get out his garbage bags. They would rip them open. And they would find bones all over. But the Soper Principal said that he thought a lot of them were animal bones. So he would just collect them, pick them up, and throw them back into the dumpster. Oh. And so after Dahmer was captured, they were still finding bones around the back of the building, and they gave them to the police. The police didn't even want them. They told them to throw them out. So, like I said, these cops, they just don't want to make connections. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite something there. You guys, this is I'm going to show you. I'll show you. This is his book. Right here on Amazon. It's the extended edition.
Oh, let me say something real quick, Tom.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the price of the book there on the right, in the red there? It says 33
yep.
what?
33.
Yeah. The normal price is 44 something. So it's on sale right now. You're saving 11. Yep. How much does it say you save? 11.66, I believe it is.
Yep, 26% off.
Yeah. The reason is it's temporarily out of stock. They have ordered more.
Yep.
You can order it. You can put it in your. You can order it now. And
I ordered one. You've seen that. Yeah.
And they won't.
I ordered one.
They won't charge you until they ship it, because it's going to take at least 10 more days to get it. But at least if you order it, go ahead and order it. You can buy it for that.
You'll save some money. You'll
right.
order it now. If you pre-order,
Right.
it'll be there in 10 days.
Yeah.
So save
Oh,
yourself
it'll be more than 10.
11 bucks.
It'll be more than 10 because they got to get them in about 10 more days, and then they got to ship them. So figure 2 weeks.
Right.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay, a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then okay, let me stop sharing that, and then I'm going to share your this blood spatter. That really bothers me when I look at that.
Well, what bothers me is that it doesn't belong to the dead man.
Right,
You know?
right.
But there wasn't.
Here is his website right here.
Right,
one of them, frustratedwitness.com.
And on the bottom,
this is one of them.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Yeah, and then there's Justice for Adam. Yeah,
click on
here.
it.
This is his main website right here.
I want to show you how you can toggle back and forth. Click on Justice for Adam.
Wait a minute here. Let me wait a minute. I got to share the other screen here. Okay. Justice for Adam. There we go. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, now that'll come up. Now scroll down on that one, and you can go back to the other one. You can toggle back and forth.
Which one is it?
No, scroll back up. I'm sorry. Scroll up. Right there. Where it says Frustrated Witness. Down a little bit. Right there. Down a little bit more.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go back and forth between the two. Right. So you can just click on that and it goes to this. Then you can click on this and go to that.
Yeah, back and forth.
There's different. There's different things to click on each one. So.
Well, this website is where all the case files are at. Okay, and this is free, a free website, and on here you get many case files that you would have to pay for individually $40 for. The Hollywood Police Department,
right.
Adam Walsh case files alone is about $40, and then you have the State Attorney's Office case files. You have the FBI case files with Jeffrey Dahmer. You have the Milwaukee Police Department interviews with Jeffrey Dahmer. You have, like I said, multiple records on. You have the State Attorney's Office case files, also the 17th District Court. No,
here's. Everybody, could this be Adam's blood? Could this be Adam's blood in that meter room? It was so old that they couldn't even get DNA off it.
Right.
And this is where Jeffrey Dahmer worked.
Right. In the meter room. The cover
Adam's
is the actual
blood.
meter.
Yeah. That's just that's really something.
Yeah. And what bothers me too is that John Walsh goes on these shows and he says that there are people out there trying to make money off of his son writing books. And like I said, I've never made a penny on this book. And if I make anything, it goes right back into what I do. And it bothers me when John Walsh's net worth is like 40 million and he says there's people trying to make money off of his son. That's what bothers me.
Right.
Instead of, I listen, I understand what John has been through, and I understand, it's like the Stockholm syndrome, how somebody can victimize you like the Hollywood Police Department. And he called them the biggest bunch of stumbling, bumbling idiots. And now that they closed the case, he calls them his best friends and colleagues. The same people.
Right.
Just because all of a sudden they closed the case. So
I just what really bothers me is, it's almost kind of it's too apparent. It's too apparent.
Well,
that you know what I mean? It's way more apparent than O'Toole, who him and his buddy are arguing over who killed the most, and they're making up stories, and they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you read the records, he was never even in South Florida. He was only here one time when they dragged him down here so he could show them where Adam was murdered, and he couldn't even do that. All the original detectives dismissed him.
Right.
And here's the thing. Here's the catch. I talked to like one of the detectives, Ron Hickman, the second lead detective. And I asked him, I says, did you watch that closing on the Adam Walsh case where the police chief said all detectives, past and present, believed it was Otis Toole? And you know what he says to me? He shouts at me, he goes, well, they know I don't. And they all say the same thing. None of them believe it was Otis Toole. Only Joe Matthews claims it's Otis Toole. Everybody dismissed him. So it's just a fake story. It's closing, fake narrative, fake everything.
It's to the point though, as like, how can you prove it now? That's the bummer part.
Right. But how can you discount it either? Listen, when I'm face to face.
Yeah, you can't discount. No, I'm not saying about that. It's just that
I'm saying, I was face to face with Jeffrey Dahmer. If I saw him walking into that toy department at the same time, same day, same location where Adam was from, I can't believe. And listen, it's not just that I saw him, and that's the reason I believe he did it. It's because when I contact these other witnesses and put everybody's story together, none of them clash. None of these, like I said, there was other incidents. None of these incidents, like one in South Beach, one in Riverview, none of them happened at the same time, same day, 60 miles apart. Was the time frame would clash? No, they all fit. The time frames all fit. The days fit. Everything fits.
Right. Yeah. And so does the profile. The profile of Dahmer fits what happened there to him.
Of course.
Yeah.
And even if it didn't, you listen, that book on MOs had to be written so many times. Had to be written over. After Ted Bundy, it had to be written over. After you remember the DC snipers? Remember that was supposed to be a white.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was supposed to be a white redneck.
Yeah,
with a white van. There was no white van. It was two black guys, one mentor and one trainee. So
their profile was wrong on that one. But I can see that mistake actually. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been very interesting. We might have to do another one, and I think we'll shut this down for the night. I thank you very much, Willis, for coming on to the show and telling us part of the story, and we will get to the rest of it. Again, people, go to his site, and you can order the book. It's $33 right now, 26% off. And I'm going to start reading up on Dahmer again. I knew that story that you were telling me about him, and he said he was his lover. I remember watching a show on it, and they had that story in there. And but I'm going to start reading up on Dahmer again because it's been a few years, and I want to make connect my own dots. You know what I'm saying? And I recommend everybody do that. Connect your own dots. Start reading on Dahmer, and I mean, there's just too many coincidences, and I don't believe in coincidences that much, really. So, there's a very, very and yeah, you're right, Debbie. A very fascinating interview. Thank you very much, Willis. Yes, thank you very much. And we will see you soon again. I'll have Karen get a hold of you. All right. Sounds good. Take care, brother. Yep. All right. So you heard it right from Willis Morgan, who was a witness to Jeffrey Dahmer down in Florida. Witnessed him at that same toy store. He has done a lot of work on this, and you've seen the blood spatter. You've seen police reports. He told you part of that story. We will book another night where we can finish it up. And it's a Friday night, I do believe, right? So I love you, my crime family, my subs. You are my heart, and my mods. You are my soul. Until next time, rock and roll.
guys, what's up?